Welcome back to Real Life Reviews and to Living with Humango 6 months in. Although to be a bit more precise, probably it's 6 months and 2 weeks. But anyway, what's 2 weeks in this schedule? And I'm going to start straight away by addressing what for many people is a little bit of the elephant in the room. Light mode, dark mode. What Humango have done is, and I really applaud them for this, is they're trying to, or what they're doing I suppose, is they're trying to align the app, you're using your mobile device, with the web. So what I see on my laptop, PC, whatever, so that there is a real consistency. And it is, I think, very fair to say that there's an awful lot of platforms out there or bits of software that the two are very different. So I applaud Humango in what they're doing. The dark mode was obviously very popular with a large number of you, and at the moment there is no dark mode on the laptop to utilize. I can assure you that I've been in touch with Humango and they are working on it, and a simple switch is on the way. I can't tell you how soon, but they're working on it. There is a workaround, and that is if you use Chrome, you can set Chrome to go into dark mode. And Pav Bryan on the Humango community Facebook site has put a link showing you how to do that. A little word of caution, depending on your Chrome, depending on your setup, in theory, you can set this dark mode to be with a particular app, for want of a better term. That's not always the case, and it can be that you end up with either everything in dark mode on Chrome or nothing in dark mode. And if this happens and you want to change it, the process is the same to change it back, but be aware that you usually have to come out of Chrome, shut it down, restart it before the light mode comes back again. So don't worry if you think you've changed it back to light mode and it hasn't got there. So dark mode, hopefully on the way. There's a bit of a workaround, but massive applaud to Humango for making that effort. And whilst I use that term Humango, I have noticed that more and more of the coaches and the videos on Humango are starting to really work at calling it Humango. There we are. I'm sticking with Humango for the moment. Whilst we're talking about aligning the app and the web, there are one or two little consistencies that are starting to show through. For example, one, if you follow my cursor now on the page and I come to the left, that's analytics on the web page. If you look at your app, it's trends. So I believe, if my memory serves me right, without looking back at screenshots from 3 months ago, I believe it used to be trends on the website as well, but it's become analytics. To be honest, I prefer the term analytics, and a lot of the analytics are showing trends rather than just calling it all trends. But there we are. So there's obviously an awful lot of work to go into this still, and they're getting there. I'm liking it. Thank you. Whilst I've got my home screen open, something that I just noticed literally the other day, and I'm presuming it's been like this for a while, or at least since the update and the new format of the web. But if I look at my screen, and you can follow my cursor to the Good Morning Andy and soreness. I've got soreness 5 there, just out of reference. If I click on edit, and this is my point, is I click on mood and I'm down on very sore, for sake of argument. If I don't move that, my score stays as 0. So I can't necessarily show you this now because I've already moved it this morning. But for it to register that score of 5 there, you have to move it off, submit. So I now submit it and I get a score, and that score is 4. and there's my soreness. If my soreness was 5 and I leave it and don't move it and then move it back again, the soreness score is 0. So it will not record where it's sitting as you look at it. You have to move it, submit it, and then do it again and move it back again so it scores 5. Just a little quirk, and I will put a ticket in with relation to that. And this moves me on to my next point, is the help centre. And I think we've got to be very careful that we don't overload them, although that's the help centre's there for a reason. I use it sparingly, and I have found them to be absolutely brilliant. There's some great help that can be given on the Facebook page, the Humango community page. But again, this doesn't need to become a bitching forum or a slagging forum. This is about being helpful. It's about promoting people's success and how they're finding things, and possibly asking the odd little question if you want someone's experience or quick easy rather than going through the help centre. But please don't use it to knock without actually going to use the help centre. And a classic case here, I've got a screenshot, there we are, that shows my fitness rating in the bottom right as 110%. If I come back to my current one today, so the screenshot was yesterday, and move down to the right where my cursor is, it's now on 108%. So I understand CWL, I understand quite a bit about fitness. The specialisations in my degree, which is a sports degree, is exercise physiology and biomechanics. I want to know, what is it 108 or 111% of? Is it a perception of, at my age, my fitness should be, could be? Is it a relationship to where my fitness is on my plan and I'm ahead of the game? And if I move my cursor, yep, my goal readiness is now 100+%, and that's for something that's in 73 days time. So I raised the ticket, and I have to say that in under a day, and I would say probably nearer the 12 to 14 hours, I got a response. And the response quite simply is, where it says 108%, it shouldn't say 108%, it should just say 108, as it does up in the fitness score above, where my cursor is now. And that's an error in the system, and Humango have assured me that they are going to remove that. Now, clearly you can see what it's saying now, and I've been on this morning. It hasn't happened yet, but it will be. And there is a case of Help Centre responding quickly, finding out what the problem was, appreciating it, and they're now in the process of putting it right. So that is a brilliant aspect of Humango. They are willing to learn, they're willing to listen, and they're there to help. So please use the Help Centre. Back to the front page, and something I'd like to see, again, if you can pick up my cursor, it's towards the bottom right, is we have these windows. I'll come back to the fitness one. We've been looking at that for a little while, and there's an element to it in that, for example, there's an I for information, and if I just click on the box of fitness, nothing happens. If I move to the I and click on that, I get my explanation of the fitness there. What's my point? My point is that my cursor, which is a hand at the moment, and if I double tap, I can move that box around and place it somewhere else. I'm just going to bring it back to where it was. The hand does not change what it is when it goes over the information box. I would expect it to go from hand to an arrow to show I'm over a spot that I can click on and something will happen. Yeah, just a small thing, and perhaps I'm wrong, but that would be my expectation. My next big thumbs up to Humango, and what they've been doing is the enormous increase in help videos. The way to get to these, it might seem quite obvious to many of you. If you look, I bring my cursor across to the left hand menu bar, question mark, need help, tap on there, and here I get to the tutorials, FAQs and glossary. Here are the videos. If I can just get to the menu bar, sorry, the scroll bar, and there are loads and loads of them. If you scroll up, you'll see an other. At the moment, that's empty. Planning for the future, there's going to be a lot more. A slight word of caution. These have obviously been recorded over a period of time, and most of them, if not all of them, most of them have been recorded in the old dark mode before the update to the web page, or the website. So just be aware, and consequently some of the terminology is subtly different, as in analytics and trends, and also some of where things are. For example, if I go to these videos and I look for fitness trend, if I watch that video, it tells me that the fitness trend chart, etc., is in trends or analytics. If I go to analytics on here, and I can scroll through all of those, fitness trend is not there. The fitness one, the fitness chart. To get to the fitness chart, you actually have to go to, bring my cursor to the left, to seasons. I tap on seasons, that opens up, and depending on what it's been going, you might need to open it, but generally it appears straight away, and there's my fitness chart trend or analytic, for want of a better term. But little things like that, but to the side, massive increase in videos to help you find an answer to your problems or to show you how to use things. Whilst I've got this chart up though, just look at my cursor here, and at the top, recommended goal fitness is the dotted line. So my recommended goal fitness for the whole of this season is a dotted line that comes along here and never changes. I'm struggling to comprehend that, and then goes directly vertical as I get to events. So coming along and then dropping. So I would expect my recommended goal fitness to be more like the wiggly line that's showing, which is kind of my actual fitness historically, and my projected fitness, I suspect, in the future. Yeah, that might be a contact us ticket for the future. However, what I am really pleased with is the yellow line in the middle. Bring the cursor across. That is where I am today. That didn't exist before, and I really like it, because to get to where I am today before, I would have had to have done what I've done with the cursor. It opens up this flipping window with all the data on, and I now can't see what's behind it. Whereas I can move my cursor off, I can see my little yellow line, and I can see where I am in relation to the season around me. So that one little help or change, I really rate, and I like that. For me, for my little data analysis, that's what I want to see. So thank you, Humango, that's a good one. And now for the odd little frustration. And the first one, and this has been bugging me for a long time, and this is coming from somebody who's studied this at degree level, who spent their whole life teaching and coaching sport, from beginners, school children, right up to international performers. And that is about heart rate, and the fact that the algorithm that's used does not take into account that the body requires time to adapt. Now, it requires time to adapt long term for physical, for just your basic fitness, be it cardiovascular, muscular, whatever, but also short term, your heart rate. We often call this heart rate lag. So your brain needs to receive the right messages from the body, be they psychological or physiological, chemical, neuro, and adapt and make changes. So what you will find is you can work hard, but your heart rate is still lower, and then it will catch up and come through. You can also stop exercising at a high level, and your heart rate can still keep increasing for a little bit, and then it can dip. And you get this as well. So a classic athlete's heart rate, they will finish an 800-meter race. The heart rate will continue to go up, then it will drop down, it will dip, and then come up, and then it will plateau, and then start some recovery. And just to try and show you this and how the algorithm purely looks at a heart rate to a specified zone, to a specified exercise zone, whether it be a pace zone, a power zone, whatever. And I'm going to scroll the screen and I'm going to open up my swim from yesterday, which is this 200 threshold effort when it decides to open up. Here we go. And I'm going to come down to heart rate, and this is it, where the cursor is, where I'm moving around at the moment. So the requirement was, here we are, that I spend 20 minutes, 21 minutes in zone 1. I actually spent 5 minutes in zone 1. That's quite typical for me in swimming. The heart rate gets going quite quickly. However, target for zone 2 was 0. I spent 50 minutes in zone 2. Target for zone 3 was 0. I spent 21 minutes in zone 3. And then the target for zone 4 was 55 minutes. So the expectation was that I would spend a period of time, 20 minutes, 21 minutes in zone 1. Now, this swim was a 400-meter warm-up, and then it was a 6x200 at threshold. So I was in my thresholds in zone 1. But here we are, here's the real thing. I'm expected to spend 21 minutes in zone 1, and then my heart rate is expected to completely skip zones 2 and 3 and jump straight into zone 4. That's just not going to happen. There needs to be some graduation, something in the algorithm to appreciate heart rate lag, but then also the metrics that you've put in. So understanding your current fitness state, understanding your age, a number of factors that are going to determine or help determine a pattern of heart rate lag and how the heart rate goes. It is just not feasible for your zoning to go from 1 to 4 just like that, not going through 2 and 3, and for then there to be comments potentially coming back saying that you've not got into the right zones. And this is really relevant in the cycling workouts when you do a high power effort, and it will expect you to go from zone 2 or 3 straight to 5A or B or C for 5 seconds and then drop back down again. And yeah, I think somebody needs to really look at the algorithm for heart rate zoning and also how comments are aligned to it. And whilst I mention that, consistency in just titling the zones. So here we have 5A, B, C. I don't have a problem with that. I actually quite like it as 5A, B, C. I won't go into the depth as to the physiology and why I like it, but I do. However, if I come to metrics and I look at heart rate and zones, I'm going to keep it on general, I might as well, and I open up my zones. Here, 5A is 5, 5B is 6, 5C is 7. Now, that's not an uncommon descriptor of the zones, 1 to 7, and they're the same zones in effect. But please, Humango, be consistent so somebody who's trying to learn has an appreciation of what they're doing. Consistency in zones, please. My next little one is cursor, middle of the screen, goal readiness, and how that changes and what it represents. So at the moment, my goal readiness is 100+%. Personally, I'd like to see an actual number there. I'd like to see it say 103%, 102%, 109%. I'd like to know where I am in the readiness that Humango has perceived I need to be to achieve the target time in the event that is my next A race. So I want that to be a number. Also, how that readiness drops overnight. So for the last few weeks, excuse me, my goal readiness at the end of the day has been 100+%. And then overnight, with rest and recuperation, in the morning it can drop to, or it's dropped to 97%. Then the next day it dropped to 98% and went back up, and so on. Well, this is readiness, not fitness. I can see how the fitness has dropped from 111 to 108, for example, but I don't see how the readiness can have dropped overnight, which is a period of your training, for want of a better term, your rest and recuperation overnight, because your readiness arguably should have increased because your body's mending itself, it's getting better. Not only that, the other element is that your readiness drops after a planned rest day. So this is part of your planning, and that recuperation in the rest day, yes, your actual fitness level can drop, and this is all a part of comparing fitness level with form and fatigue, clearly, but your readiness, if anything, should be increasing after that rest day because your form and fatigue, your form's getting better, your fatigue is getting less. So again, why has your goal readiness gone down when actually you're improving your readiness for the event? Okay, a couple of little things here. The first one is almost irrelevant. I was wanting to know how and why, in a bit more depth, stars are awarded after a session, after a workout, but they've now disappeared. So that's not particularly relevant. Another one, a quick one to show you, if I come to my metrics, and this is one that I need to keep an eye on. I'm not going to raise a ticket at the moment, but running metrics, my threshold power here, 1,521 watts. Well, oh boy, if it was. I'm 62 this year. That would make me, gosh, I could go to the Olympics at almost any track event and win it. I would think, especially if I align it to, anyway, yeah, and I can't change it. I can't, if I go into the edit and I go to estimate, so hopefully Humango uses what I've got in the system, and I click on add metric, it fails to create the metric. The only way I can actually do it is go manual, but I don't want to do that because I'm half guessing, and I'm also half using data from outside of Humango. I use a Stride foot pod. I know roughly what my power is. I know what it is on every time I do a run. I look at it and I have threshold measurements, so I could put something in, but I'm just going to reset that and put it on priority. But yeah, gosh, I'm happy with that, I suppose. 1,521 watts. It's miles out. My final sort of quibble is about workouts and the linking of workouts as well as the sending of workouts. You could probably say this is two things, but I'm going to deal with them together. So on screen at the moment, this week, Tuesday I had a swim here where the cursor is VO2 max pyramid 5, and then yesterday, Wednesday, I had my 200 threshold effort swim. Now, I did the VO2 max pyramid 5, and I did it absolutely compliant, But it linked to what would be then tomorrow's threshold effort. And it gave me 100% compliance. So I had to unlink it from the threshold and relink it back to the one it should be. But it then gave me a compliance of 73%. Now I can show you every single one of my swim sessions and they're all 100% compliant. So something in the first linking was wrong, and then bringing it back to the one it should have been, it just, and you can see from the duration, 54 minutes, it was, so that's a little bit of a, not quite sure, slightly frustrating. I've got a question mark up here instead of a tick. I don't care really, but yeah, you just need to be able to link, unlink and do it. My other one is, and as a little bit of background, I'm going to call up my calendar, and the first thing you need to know is that I haven't done a replan for a fair while. And here's my calendar. Thursday is currently my rest day. Today is Thursday. And if I scroll down, Thursday was my rest day last week, and you'll see I did and what I often do is set the erg really low, do an hour spin on the turbo. So that's an unlinked activity, just to work the legs out, get rid of any lactate or rubbish that's in the muscles. So that was a rest day last week. It was a rest day the week before. It was a rest day the week before. And so it's a while since I've done a replan. So here we are. This is today. I woke up this morning, looked at my watch, and as per the norm, then I had my day ahead. And it showed I'd got a workout. So if I just click onto run, click run, do workout, there we go. And I've got a 12-minute, hopefully you can see that, endurance workout sent to my watch. It wasn't there yesterday. And this isn't an issue with syncing, etc. I tend to have 3 things on screen all the time. My Strava, my Garmin Connect and my Humango. I close them down at the end of the day. Next morning, I open things up and there it is. And that workout was not there yesterday. So I have a rest day planned and Humango has sent it. If I on screen come up and click on Garmin Connect, 21st, 12-minute endurance. It's been sent to there. It is Humango. If I click on it, it opens up. Oh, it's asking me there to remove from calendar. Now it's messing me around a lot now. Let's come back to, here we go. If I click on it, there we are. And remove from calendar, but this has come from Humango. So somehow Humango has created a workout on my rest day and sent it to Garmin for me to do. And you can see on the calendar, yep, here are the next few things for up to the 27th, about a week in advance. Not a problem. It hasn't got them all there. It doesn't send the workouts for some reason. I don't get workouts sent across, and I've been playing around trying to get that to happen. However, yeah, it's just happened. Go figure. There we are. Where I am with Humango, I'm still loving it, and I'm really appreciative of all the work the guys at Humango are doing to make the whole thing better. And I'm tempted to say day by day it gets better and better and better. Clearly, in reality, week by week, month by month, and so on, because a lot of work has to go in, for example, to videos before you can put a set up. Speaking of which, I'd like to see a little bit more order to the videos, so it's easy to find what you want, be it alphabetical, structuring by topic, etc. But that's another by the by. So I've got a massive thumbs up to Humango. Thank you, Humango. You've given me structure. I'm working to it. Hopefully people can see with my readiness as being 100+% that it's worked pretty well. I would say I don't feel I could go out tomorrow and do Ironman Hamburg and hit my target time. I don't think I'm that fit and ready for it. However, here we are. That's what the algorithm's saying. So if you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, give it that big thumbs up and share it with your friends, and in particular the Humango community. I'm very happy to try to answer questions for people. Do stick them in the comments down below. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, well, please click on the little round picture down there, and a few little videos for you to have a look at that might be helpful. So thanks for watching.